Revisit the morn of creation, immemorial and hallowed, whence emerged a species unique under the sun and stars, christened the sons of God. From the humble cradle of ancient hominids, a lineage was chosen, guided by the unseen hand of destiny, distinct from their Neanderthal kinfolk, carved in stature and spirit from the dust of primal earth. Inscribed reminiscences that echo through time, the Book of Enoch speaks of these ilk. And the sons of the gods saw the daughters of man, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Enoch 6:2, a testament to an ancient accord woven into the tapestry of human legacy. Thus it was also in the book of Genesis, when a verse shrouded in mystery projected a comparable narrative. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Genesis 6:2. Shared here are echoes from yore about these sons, descendants of ancient hominids and chosen by the winds of destiny. Their genesis was no less connected to the terrestrial and cosmic origins as was Adam's. Where Adam was sculpted from the yielding clay of the earth in the pulsating crucible of evolutionary potential, he gave birth to two, Cain and Abel. Abel was fruitful with his live offerings, Cain was not. This is the story of Cain, who symbolizes the sons of God, first blessed, interminably cursed, and the inevitable salvation of humanity. Their forms were molded from the hand of evolution, that cosmic smith using the marrow of their predecessors' potentialities as material. This divine clay was awakened by a brilliant shimmer of evolutionary transformation, catapulting them into an existence separate from their Neanderthal contemporaries. Their saga hence became an emblem of evolution's audacious gambit. As it was willed, a constellation in time was birthed, a celestial crescent shining through the epochs spanning some 450,000 years. The sons of God, or Bene Elohim as inscribed in the ancient texts, left the cradle of civilization, their eyes set on a realm far beyond the familiar contingencies of their Neanderthal kinsfolk. Guided by oracular whispers of destiny, they journeyed to the lush, abundant lands of Central America, conceiving a civilization where none had flourished before. Here their being flowered in splendid divergence as evolution plied her ionic loom, weaving a symphony of transformative harmony, untold and resplendent. Characteristics unknown to the ancients blossomed, knitting a crest of cognition that bulged as a mountaintop touching celestial skies. The sons of God's cerebellums burgeoned, signifying the expansion of their minds, unlocking gateways to artistic resonance, structured logic, societal sophistication, and a spiritual symphony that echoed against the cosmic realms. Countless morns kissed the lands of Central America as the sons evolved, their unique cognitive abilities heightening from the crescendo of evolution's symphony. They echoed the unseen harmonies with every thought, every emotion, every creative sparkle akin to the cosmic bodies above. Each revelation became a melody in the vast orchestra, their cognition amplifying its echo till it resonated with the primordial rhythm of the cosmos. Their bodies, sculpted by evolution, became vessels tuned to the symphony of existence, stepping in tempo with the universal rhythm. Yet, amidst this cosmic dance, the sons were not free from the gnashing jaws of nature's immutable law, adapt or perish. Biological imperatives tugged at the strings of their existence. As the celestial rhythm heightened, so did their struggle. Reconciling their celestial prowess with terrestrial biology, the powerful harmonies gave room to a discordant note, the resonance of their survival within the cosmic symphony. As the sons faced this evolutionary precipice, their story bent towards a new chapter, their fate intertwined with another celestial melody, the yet unorchestrated rhythm of humanity. Their harmonious echo was about to intermingle with another, origin of a symphony yet unsurpassed. A symphony that would craft a destiny resonating with the celestial cosmos and terrestrial earth. As the firmaments turned to the tune of the divine hand, so too did the saga of the sons evolve. Earthly they were, born of her womb and flesh of her flesh, yet the hand that carved them was celestial, connecting them to the cosmic waltz by intuitive abilities, fostered by the enriching cradle of earth, granting unimagined perspectives. Underneath the sprawling cosmos, the sons nurtured their celestial kinship, kindling a flame of understanding that pierced through the terrestrial veil to gaze upon the stars. Their minds, flowering creations of evolution, began to grasp the cosmic symphony playing beyond the confines of the earthly sphere. Their intellect and intuition swelled in a crescendo, granting them singular insights and intuitive perceptions of universal law. Yet, as celestial as their minds had grown, their flesh remained of the earth. In this seeming contradiction, they learnt their first lesson from the cosmic script, the golden rule of a celestial existence: evolve or fall into oblivion. The suns, divine in their illumination, weren't beyond the shadow of mortality. Their journey through the cosmic chord was not exempt from the primal trials and tribulations of survival instincts. The law of nature remained timeless and unyielding, overseeing their ascent and descent through the evolutionary spiral. However, as they danced to the perpetual stanzas of survival and evolution, the script of their celestial saga transmuted, intricately intertwining with the destined story of another species: humanity. They faced the primal challenges of survival, adorned in the skin of a gradual existential crisis. The larger cerebellums, an attribute of cosmic intelligence, had evolved into an earthly burden, the constraints of biology bringing forth unforeseen complications. Here the celestial saga produced a discordant note, materializing in the intricate patina of childbirth. Their kin bore the weight of an enlarged cranium that caused complications in birthing. The resounding echo of the mother's laboring cries wasn't just a simple act of childbirth, instead a symphony praising the paradox of their evolution, the birth of a cognitive entity bearing the battle scars of physical evolution. Their tale took an unexpected turn, encapsulating their quest for evolution and survival, for the continuation of their lineage, thus bringing forth a destiny intertwined with humanity. For every melody they played together, a new harmony would echo, one that was destined to reverberate across the ages. As their momentous journey continued, a specter arose, casting a grave shadow over the sons of God, an echo of the asperities of their unique evolution. The gifts they bore, the cosmic cognition that unlocked the manifold mysteries of the universe, were imparted unto them inextricably with an earthly burden. For in their heads of larger magnitude that housed minds as vast and deep as the cosmos above, danced the intermingled blessing and curse of their birthright. The most extraordinary consequences of their cerebral evolution became strikingly evident during the sacrament of birth. The females of their kind, akin to all earthly creatures, were bound by the constraints of terrestrial biology. The challenge set before them was harsh, and the strains of childbirth bore witness to the ruthless decree of nature. Their wider heads, cradles of the divine intellect, proved a trial during birth-giving due to the physical limitations of the female pelvic structure. This infernal paradox, a confrontation between their divine intellect and earthly frailties, was an echo in the grand cosmic scale. It signaled their greatest challenge and a turning point in their journey, casting them into the crucible of existence where their survival would be tested against the anvil of reality. The dilemma placed upon them was stark: to bear the painful consequence of their expanded cerebrums or to find a solution that would not compromise their continued evolution. Birthed of an earthly life cycle, their evolution commanded a rise into beings of superior intellect, a testament to their heavenly endowment. With the progression of each epoch, this advanced cognition formed the web upon which a new metamorphosis would take place, the transfer of consciousness. As the rhythm of existence played on, the amplitude of this transfer grew, blotting out the line between their physical form and the metaphysical element of consciousness, and giving rise to a life cycle that transcended the restrictions of mortality. Each new life brought forth was a link in a chain of existence that transcended the temporal confines, speaking volumes about the light of consciousness that could never be extinguished. The sons perceived the universe as a grand, pulsating entity of life and spirit to which they owed the essence of their existence. They saw themselves as celestial musicians playing the symphony of existence, their instruments forged of the cosmos and their rhythms guided by its timeless laws. This perception informed their religious practices as they sought to harmonize with the cosmos, binding themselves to a cosmic order that echoed with the universal rhythm. This understanding further anchored their cultural and societal principles, fortifying their individuality within the cosmic orchestra. This trial, harsh as it was, remained entwined with a thread of hope, an undying testament to their divine resilience. And while they lived ever longer, all paths led to the same end, the extinction of their kind. Their tales served as a testimony of the universe's duality, an ageless dance between the ephemeral and the eternal, the worldly and the cosmic. The sons of God were now tasked with composing a new harmony within the grand celestial symphony, a rhythm that encapsulated their struggle, their survival, and their indomitable will to evolve. And yet they had such a tremendous gift to offer in that continuity, a genetic gift of a persistent soul. The celebration of their existence signified an understanding of cosmic unity, that they were parts of a cosmos that pulsed with life and spirit. Most of those souls long departed, ascending to a deeper connection with the universe, 144,000. But the decision was made to transfer that gift to humanity regardless of the cost. Hence the immortal souls that remained behind, the Watchers as they are sometimes known, or the Sons of God. The summer sweat from the 3-mile-high ice sheet had turned to a river now. They knew when and where the ice would crack. They had picked a beautiful vantage nook high in the Rocky Mountains. But knowing what is coming doesn't prepare one to see the great flood unleashed. I counted the portals out of which they proceed and wrote down all their outlets, of each individual star by itself, according to their number and their names, their courses, and their positions. Safe as well from the meteorites that began to arc across the sky. Not so safe they hadn't spread to the extremities of the earth to ensure survival, but Enoch had faith. He tucked away his book. They still had a long time before they'd have to pick tribes to follow, but he had a few hundred years of notes already. They all did, now that they were alone. He'd been thinking about his last trip up to Babel, just before the 144 left. Each of their families, unreproduced and ascended away, feels more poignant when you consider that is 12,000 parts out of 12,025 from your shared collective soul. He didn't doubt for a second that it was harder on the ones who left. When you lose something, it drives you nuts. When you lose everything, you just move on. Now the world was moving on and he was ready. But everything seemed so quiet now, he had to talk to himself not to get dizzy. As he watched the display unfold, it occurred to him that the world was undergoing a reversion, and that reversion paralleled the one that led him to bind himself to this course. All who are in heaven know what is share. Enoch hummed to himself as the light show continued. Ah, to end the quest, to no longer feel compelled to explore, discover, or evolve. No need for any candles. He stepped up first to stay behind since he thought there'd be a rush, their loss. He dreamt back to a far-removed era when Earth was still young. Consciousness was a nascent spark in the cosmic panorama. Eve, primordial mother, sculpted the first ripple of existence in the tranquil pool of primordial life. In the realm of the cell, she assumed the mantle of motherhood for each human forms to come, defining herself as the first being to give life as we know it. This advent of humanity was no small task, requiring intuition, instinct, and understanding, yet possessing a voice so silent it could only be heard inside oneself. Driven by the powerful urge to endure, Eve had an innate concern. She pondered over the ephemeral nature of life and the fragility of physical existence. Compelled by this existential premonition, she made a profound choice. Eve, in her meditative state, sensed a world within herself, a microcosm mirroring the macrocosm, yet inextricably unique, hidden in plain sight. Eve, driven by love and hope for humanity's future, she looked within the egg, and she found the mitochondria. The mitochondria were these discrete inner worlds, existing within each cell as a reminder of our symbiotic past, when human life was still ensconced in the aquatic cradle of evolution. Pulsating with vibrant energy, these diminutive powerhouses were conduits feeding the very spark of life. Perplexed by the evanescent existence of physical life, Eve contemplated the paradox of persistence. Just as mortal bodies decay and end, she reasoned, so too should the cognitive self, the perception of I, the essence of consciousness, should follow the same pattern. Yet something whispered in her primordial wisdom that the echo of her enlightenment, her spirit, her energy, had the capacity to survive beyond the corporeal. An unexpected, unintended, a transformation occurred. For one cannot observe without affecting, and the link between her conscious mind and the life force, the soul of her offspring, had become inextricably bound. And now, she had to care about the future. So she taught her husband. These organelles, emulating the celestial bodies in the cellular cosmos, would serve as sacred vessels for her spiritual spark, an eternal lighthouse in the seas of temporal existence. Over millennia, Eve's spiritual essence, encapsulated within cellular mitochondria, has journeyed through descending generations like sacred whisperings in a cosmic game of telephone. It has perceived history unfurl, watching over humanity's evolutionary journey like an eternal silent observer. This creative adaptation of Eve's spiritual continuance is analogous to a melodious symphony, tuned to the rhythm of evolution, holding together the harmony of physical existence and spiritual awakening. A celestial ensemble that used the soul's progression as its score, with each human life a momentous crescendo and every newborn a reverberating echo, inviting the next, the pulsating rhythm of continuation and regeneration. As such, Eve's mitochondrial legacy serves as ancient proof of the balance between continuity and change, interlacing the physical and spiritual dimensions. This intricate dance illustrates how the eternal essence could be transferred to subsequent lives through the vessels of mitochondria representing the evolution of the soul. Each individual thus harmoniously presents an ageless symphony, a testament to our shared origin and the endurance of spiritual consciousness. His memory flashed forward to his oath, to this cycle of existence until all sentient life attains enlightenment. Getting involved with things like that is kind of non-linear. If you already understand what you are thinking about, you probably made the choice long ago. Indeed, if you have the chance to understand what you are thinking about, you've probably already made the decision. His people's predicament was also unexpected in planning and obvious in retrospect. The ascendant ones had too much focus on the elevation of consciousness and intellectual advancement, which, in a drive to shed the impediments of the physical form, resulted in excessively elongated craniums. The downside came in the form of severe complications in childbirth, nature's cruel joke. As such, physical reproduction became challenging, if not impossible. We must embrace the primitive, the rawness of existence, the pain, the joy, the uncertainty. To unlock the potential of man and conjoin our destinies, we must reconnect our origins, to strip away the layers of privilege and power, to become as one as the light of the sky and the warmth of the earth's embrace. The daughters of man, beautiful in form and heart, shall cradle our children in her bosom, and together we shall light the path to a greater salvation. Every step a prayer, each inch a pilgrimage. Enoch thought back to his first lesson, sitting with his father under the Bodhi tree, reading the textbook of Genesis. The story of Adam and Eve, in its most literal interpretation, encapsulates a basic understanding of human anatomy, setting its stage in the physical realm. We read about Adam, who in an act of creation sacrifices a rib to form Eve. This patriarchal narrative subtly underscores the physical differences between males and females. By virtue of the tale, it paints Eve as a derivative of man, formed from the solitary rib of Adam, inferring a sense of weakness or lesser strength in comparison to her male counterpart. But it is here that our journey of understanding truly begins, digging deeper than the surface and driving the curiosity to understand what lies beneath. As we evolve, intellectually and scientifically, the literal translation of the story propels us to reassess our understanding and question the validity of the narrative. It becomes evident that Eve could not have been made from an actual physical rib of Adam. This dissolution of the literal tale presents an interpretational void, a missing rib that needs to be understood and filled. This is where the essence of negation lies, as it drives us to question and seek answers. The mystery of the missing rib piques the interest within the scientific community, encouraging them to delve into the mystery of our genetic makeup and the mechanisms of sexual differentiation. Where and why the rib is missing forces us to look deeper than the eye can see. This enigma brings us to the reinterpretation stage. Here, modern science unravels this intricate puzzle. The missing rib is no ordinary bone, but a symbol for the unique Y chromosome, a necessary imbalance that allowed life to progress from simplicity to more incredible intricacy through infinite combinations, attaining greater and greater levels of complexity with each generation from then till now. Now, is this apple at the root of all evil? Or does the dance of creation between Adam's Y and Eve's X provide the music of life and existence? A waltz in synchrony and counterpoint, breathing life and transforming understanding of our roots, revolutionizing our perceptions, leading us towards a harmonious coexistence, bringing forth the beauty of existence in understanding of our origins. The Bible is a great source of knowledge. It's a set of blueprints listing triads of objects we can learn from the Torah through Revelations. From the Bible to the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita, through the Book of the Dead and the tales of King Arthur. One logic, 22 patterns, infinite flavors to facilitate our understanding, to prepare our minds for revelations, not constrain our actions. That law was for the lawless. Controversial? God only cares about you learning and living by the logic, which I will teach you to understand for yourself. And you can tell all the so-called religious interpreters, intermediaries, go-betweens, and other false idols if you aren't part of the solution. You are part of the problem. For only when faith combines with understanding is the path to God's gifts revealed. Enoch looked up from his lofty vantage point, his heart throbbed with anticipatory fear. The sky, once a boundless expanse of cerulean blue, had transformed into an ominous canopy. The meteor's flaming tail streaked across the heavens, a cosmic harbinger streaking towards Earth. It was the image of Jormungandr, the mythic world serpent he would one day inscribe in the annals of Norse lore, poised at the precipice of Ragnarok's impending doom. The onslaught began, a torrential tempest, a spectacular ballet of fire and ice, a raw spectacle of the universe's unforgiving cruelty and awe-inspiring majesty. The meteor came in at a low angle, like it had just barely been gripped by the Earth's gravity, in a weird fluke event, and looped around several times, wrapping the upper atmosphere in a band of fire. Fire in the sky, encircling the entire world. An image he would not soon forget in any incarnation. And then with a thunder like God's angriest shout, it exploded. The ice crystals within the meteor, vaporized now and super hot, found every fault line in the planet killer. And it blew into a billion pieces through the mountain's skeletal ridges and into the stilled heart of the world. Enoch and his fellows wrapped scarfs around their noses as the fine dust of rare earth metal settled toward the earth. The others urged him to come inside. Where would the shards fall? He told them God either wanted him to see or not, so they all stayed. The explosion had changed the course of the main chunk, twisting its path northward as it passed overhead and careened into the massive ice sheet. Flames danced over the celestial serpent scales, their fierce glow reflected in the river's roiling current that surged beneath the ice. Chaos unraveled. The ice roared as it splintered, releasing the pent-up waters unchained. Enoch could scarce comprehend the unfathomable force of nature's wrath. The torrent of water grew, a massive wave of unstoppable fury that ripped through the land, reshaping continents, erasing histories, and taking with it everything in its wake. It was Jormungandr's unhinging, the onset of a cataclysmic Ragnarok encased in ice and fire. In the tranquil aftermath, the ghostly whisper of the serpent's hiss echoed in Enoch's mind. Jormungandr had finally released its tail. The destruction of Ragnarok had come to pass. In the wake of the dreadful cataclysm, a hush settled on the world, the calm that follows the storm. First there was silence, the silence of rebirth. Then gradually the soft murmurs of life crept back, the restarting heartbeat in the world's chest. Ragnarok had passed, leaving in its trail a world irrevocably scarred, yet on the cusp of a new beginning. The universe had chosen to reset itself, and as he beheld the world's unmaking and the dawning of a renewed existence, Enoch could not help but be moved by the spectacle. With a spirit hardened against despair and kindled with renewed hope, he understood his purpose.